Ooh, Shadow Mewtwo Raid Weekend has concluded, and today we will talk about whether it was a success or a failure by Niantic. As I've got a few amazing things to share with you guys today. So hi to all of you guys. So first things first though, we all can agree that Shadow Mewtwo was a very exciting raid boss to go after. Everybody, whether you guys got the chance to play it or not, what I mean by that was not everyone actually had the chance to play Shadow Mewtwo and able to take it down. I understand that this particular raid boss being tier 5 is definitely not able to be soloed, as in single-handedly taken down. And if you are in a group of just 2 or 3 people, and you do not have the optimal counters, you may not be able to take it down also. So a lot of people on Twitter and on other social media have been voicing their concerns, especially them playing in rural areas, not having access to a lot of communities out there. I truly feel your pain, and it's something that I do feel that Niantic should address. However, I also do feel that credit should be given when credit is due. Especially, 1 month ago when Niantic decided to pull the plug on the remote raid system and nerf the remote raid system totally. So when they actually made the announcement 2 months ago that they were going to pull the plug last month, I already had the idea that no, they're not going to go back with their decision. And for the last 2 months, I had a lot of discussions with a lot of people whom I met along the way. And some were really unhappy with the decision made by Niantic. But eventually, they fully understood where Niantic is coming from, especially after I gave my explanation also. But all in all, I think the last 2 days, the weekend Shadow Mewtwo raids were rather evident, especially for people who are playing out, really going out there to play, that it's basically to encourage people to go out and play. Of course, a lot of people will be using the words force, saying that Niantic is trying to force people to go out and play. But ultimately, remember this, you always have a choice to play the game. Example, like I had friends who really didn't want to go out and play. They just hang out at home. Literally, yesterday, I had 2 of my friends when I went over to their house at night to do some stuff. They told me that they didn't even go out and raid at all. But the day before, they were with us. They were in Lucas's car and they were raiding with us. Charby and Charles. So they were in my video, the 2 days ago video, and they said yesterday they did not go out and raid Shadow Mewtwo's at all. Charby, he went to church and did his own personal stuff at home. So like I said, you always have a choice. But ultimately, when you are in a situation that you are in a rural place and you don't have any people to play Pokemon GO with, that is a problem that a lot of people would face. And it's something I feel Niantic should address, especially I did say in the car to my friends that Niantic could actually gear the tiering, the difficulty of the boss towards the number of players in the raid lobby. That would really help a lot. And of course, once the Mewtwo actually gets enraged, it's so difficult to take it down, especially if you do not know how to do it right. So a lot of people were voicing their concerns, and in fact, people were saying that they weren't able to take down the Shadow Mewtwo even with 3 or 4 people, even with 5 people. There were some people who were struggling to take it down. But they were also saying that the purified gems are glitched and you can't use it at times. But eventually I came out with the 2 videos, and yesterday's that particular video where we did the duo together, Princess and I, and she got herself the Hundo Shadow Mewtwo. I explained on the video how to actually use the purified gems effectively. So eventually, quite a few people picked up on it, including my friends from overseas, example like Vina. She was actually voicing her concern on Twitter where her family, who are playing in Bintulu, located in Sarawak, Borneo, Malaysia, they weren't able to take it down on the first day. Eventually, when they came to realize that this thing actually works, my tip that I gave to them on the video, and they were sharing the tip in the group chat, she eventually was able to take it down with her family. In fact, she actually did a duo eventually and was able to successfully take it down with her family member. And she got herself the shiny Shadow Mewtwo too. So the thing is, it's not easy to do a duo against Shadow Mewtwo. You guys saw how Princess and I kind of struggled on the first day. Eventually, once we figured out how to do it, we were able to take it down successfully in under 4 minutes. But not everyone will have the strong counters that we have. We fully understand that, and Niantic should technically address that. But all in all, from what I'm seeing from the other communities, because I do message the other community leaders, example like my friend Boon from Batam, Indonesia, I messaged him and he told me that people were coming out and doing raids together. They were very happy, they did 30 raids together. And a lot of my other friends also, my friend from South Korea, Mike, he also said that people are coming out to play, and it's really fun to see that. And in fact, other community leaders, they were telling me about how people are coming out to play the game. And I've even saw on social media people are saying that people are coming out to play the game, which is awesome. In fact, if you guys also even check out Zoe's 2 Dots video, yep, she was playing in Sydney, Australia together with Fleece King. And in fact, if you guys notice, the first person who popped up next to her in that particular video, it's Michael. Michael's Taranka. That is the Pokemon GO director. He actually flew all the way to Australia to actually play the Mewtwo, the Shadow Mewtwo raid day with them. So that shows that, you know, he as the director for Pokemon GO is very dedicated, that he's willing to come out and play the game. And he's very knowledgeable. Just listen to the things that he's saying to Zoe when Zoe was asking what are the best counters to use. He was giving her the best suggestion, saying to use Mega Gengar if she has, because that has the highest DPS. But if you have a Shadow Mewtwo that's running Psychic, oh, it's going to get one-shot KO, and especially even if you're going to encounter one that has Confusion, you're just going to get knocked out if it's windy weather with just 3 Confusions alone. So he's very knowledgeable, and you know, he has actually hit Legend multiple times. I'm not here to say good stuff about Niantic or what. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not looking to be sponsored by them. I'm just here to state facts. Alright, state facts that what has gone down for the last 2 days of Mewtwo raid day. And also, you know, quite a few people, they were saying that they prefer it to be a 3 hours raid day where every single gym is Shadow Mewtwo. But think about this. If really that happens, what will be the problem? If every gym has a Mewtwo, people wouldn't be able to know which gym to go to wait for the egg to hatch and potentially have enough firepower to take down the Shadow Mewtwo. So that happens during raid hour, especially every single week on Wednesday. Hence, people, if they do not like get a group together to coordinate to go ahead to raid together, they may not have firepower after the second or third raid if you are very lucky. Usually after the first raid, if you are in a city area, you normally wouldn't have enough firepower subsequently after that. But if you're in a rural area, forget it. Most of the time, you wouldn't have enough firepower. So I do understand the struggles that a lot of trainers are facing, especially people voicing their concern, especially the latter, you know, hashtag Heroes Niantic, the letter towards Niantic saying that players who are disabled, people who have other priorities in life and living in rural areas, unable to raid because of the change in the remote raid system. But I hope many of you guys whom have actually gone out to play the game saw some positive light towards how it was like over the weekend. I, for one, already knew it was going to happen one way or another. So I even was telling Princess that, hey, you know, when we actually had the discussion about what I was going to say on camera, to tell you guys, in fact, that was on the 5th of April, my views about Niantic's change towards the remote raid nerf. I told her that if you think in terms of long term for the game, it is really the right decision. And also, if you think about the fact that people would have a chance to come out and meet people, yesterday and 2 days ago, the Shadow Mewtwo proved it all. People were coming out there to meet people, getting to know one another, and eventually forming friendships and getting together to form communities. Those communities that were formed locally before the pandemic were in a way slowly destroyed by the global community. People do say that yeah, there's a global community form. I do agree with that and I respect that. However, you have to remember that when you actually continue to strengthen your bond with the global community, you are cannibalizing on your local community. Of course, you can always argue with me and tell me, say that you do not have any players in your area to actually play Pokemon GO with. I'm truly sorry about that, and that's something that's not within my control. But you have to understand that for me to actually even come here and play with the community leaders here, like Lucas and even Edson, who was the one driving yesterday, from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. He was in fact telling me, Edson was telling me that before the pandemic, that was something that they like to do, being in the car, to like do car raids together. Of course, not everyone plays in the car, people prefer to come out and walk, but there are many a times that the community leaders would try to get the people to come out to play, especially during the pandemic, or should I say even after the pandemic was clearing up. Talking about just before the remote raid nerf was implemented, people wouldn't want to come out. People would just say, send me raid invites, and then they would just take the raid invites from home, from work, from wherever. So it just saddens me to hear that, but when people are coming out to play like this, it makes me really, really happy to see people are coming out there to play. Edson even added that he's happy that he's able to do this, and I even asked him when was the last time he met some of those friends who were raiding with him in the car yesterday. He said it was before the pandemic because, you know, they could remote from home and they did not need to meet up with each other. So that was the whole purpose, that was the whole point why Niantic wanted to make a nerf towards the remote raid system, and I truly understand it. Of course, many of you guys may still do not agree with me on that, but hopefully for those of you who experience the in-person raids would see something positive out from it. And for those of you who really couldn't raid the Shadow Mewtwo, well, remember this. Eventually, there will always be another way to get the Shadow Mewtwo in another easier manner. Okay, it's always the case. Remember when we first got Shadow Mewtwo, how were we able to get it? We were only able to get it from Giovanni. Alright, go fast. Eventually, it came back again after saving so many Super Rocket Raiders and people used it. And then now it's in raids. So even likewise, for the first time when Mewtwo first came to Pokemon GO, it was featured at Yokohama Stadium in Japan, and I actually have that Mewtwo. It was 84% IV for me, I remember it very clearly. And you thought that was very, very exclusive. Eventually it came in the form of X raids. And then eventually it came in the form of 30 days Ultra Unlock bonus after Go Fest. And then eventually it just kept coming back into raids over and over again. Fun fact for you guys also though, Mewtwo, not the Shadow Mewtwo, Mewtwo is the #1 Pokemon when it comes to frequency of being in raids. Yep, don't believe me? Go ahead and check the historical data and everything if you want to. Alright. So another thing though, if you guys talk about even a regular Pokemon, like say for example Axew. Axew had its shiny form released last year during Go Fest. It was only available in raids. Eventually, it will come in the form of an event, a community day or something. So hence, you know, things will become easier to be obtained naturally. Even Lavesta, though we were complaining like, oh my god, the hash rate of Lavesta is only 1% and it's so low, it's so difficult to get Lavesta. Eventually there will be a bug type event or a fire type event that Lavesta might be spawning in the wild. So yeah. Eventually, like I said, everything will become easier to play. But all in all, you know, I would like to say that I had a really, really good time playing with my friends here in Cebu City here in the Philippines, and they all had fun. All of us had fun. Nobody was complaining saying that this sucks or whatsoever. Of course, I do get that there are people out there who probably would be complaining because they may not know how to play the game efficiently to be able to raid a lot of Shadow Mewtwo's, or may not even form a group to be able to do that, or may not even have the right playground to play it, having a lot of gyms to actually do that. So, of course, other real-world factors may contribute to the fact that you may not be able to do raids that frequently. Also, like safety, being out there in your country, whether is it safe or not, whether is it safe in terms of weather, whether is it too hot, whether is it rainy, whether is it snowy, or whatever reason. I truly understand that. But remember, the main purpose why Niantic is trying to get people out there is for people to socialize and build the community again. For the local communities to have been cannibalized, yep, I'll repeat again. Local communities have been cannibalized in the last 3 years. It's just very sad for me to see that. I for one would rather have the local community grow and the global community to in a way be sacrificed a bit. Alright, I wouldn't say totally but a bit, than to have the local community sacrifice like way more. I am in line with what Niantic is trying to do, and of course some content creators have also seen the light and seen the positiveness of this, and even some people regretted what they kind of said about the whole hashtag Here as Niantic ordeal, and hopefully things will become better in the future. Alright, so just think about this. I even told Princess this. Imagine in the future when Mega Mewtwo, Mega Rayquaza, whatever exciting Mega Pokemon that comes, and people are still complaining about the remote raid pass limit, and people who are complaining about the increase in price. Yep, I do understand there are people who are affected greatly by it, but I also understand there are people out there who just want it to be very convenient for them to be able to just remote all the way, despite the fact that they're living in a place that has a good number of gym count. Alright, I'm not talking about living in Tokyo, Japan, where you have like so many gyms. I'm talking about even like in a place that you probably can see at least 5 to 10 gyms around you. I'm not asking you to do 100 raids a day. Of course, if you could still do like a decent number of raids a day, that's good enough. It's better than someone who doesn't even have any gym at all. You know, so there are people living in places that do not have a single gym around them at all. And I've seen that for myself. I've even been to some of their houses and like, oh, this is where you play Pokemon GO, and oh my god, this is really, really bad. So they have to travel like 30 minutes to 1 hour to get to the place to actually play Pokemon GO with their friends. I truly understand that. Alright, but all in all I gotta say is there are people out there whom just wanted convenience. And I hope this would actually encourage you to go out more and not be lazy at home. I do not want to say it, but I had to say it. But yeah, just try to go out there for the next few events. Like I said, you guys may hate me for whatever I'm saying, but I'm just stating the fact. I'm just being very honest. I'm just being here to tell you guys everything that I've seen and experienced so far, especially with the change in the remote rates. Of course, shadow rates are non-remodeable regardless of whether they made a nerf in the remote pass or not. But for this particular event to have happened for Shadow Mewtwo is for us to get used to how raiding in person is like. Especially, I also do understand, because I would foresee how the community will react. Many people will say, oh, let's organize to do Shadow Mewtwo raids together over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, but they forgot. A lot of people have not been raiding in person. They forgot the mechanics on how to raid efficiently in person, where the gyms are, how to get to the gym, how to walk to the gym, how to drive to the gym, because it's just remoting. A lot of people may not have even walked to a certain gym ever in their Pokemon GO life, especially when a new gym came up, but they just kept remoting that. But eventually when they learned that, oh, you can't go there because the gym is closed in an area that is closed after certain hours, then you learn. So all this you have to learn over time. Even for my friends back home in Singapore, and Auntie Gladys and Leo and Ben, they even had to relearn their skills again. But for me, I still remember how to drive, of course, but I've not driven for like almost 2 years already. But I told them that if you guys ask me to drive and play the way I used to play last time, like raiding like crazy, especially with Nick when he came to Singapore to do 50 Groudon raids a day, I might struggle a bit because I'm very rusty already. In fact, I just tell you guys something. When I was in the car with Edson and Lucas, I was navigating them. Yep, I was the one navigating. I was the one planning the raids also, because I was using Campfire to plan the raids. I plan stuff very quickly, and because I'm still like okay to do that. And while editing my video, while doing the raid at the same time, so I was like multitasking like crazy. I had a lot of fun, alright, no doubt. It was stressful, but I had a lot of fun, and especially since this kind of thing I've not experienced in a long time. But to navigate them, I felt that I was even rusty also. I even forgot how to navigate a driver properly to get us to the next raid efficiently also. So that's something that I also need to relearn again in a sense. But yeah, that's something that I don't do often. Normally, I'm the one like driving or sitting in the back and doing my videos and whatsoever. Alright, so you guys can let me know, man. How did your Shadow Mewtwo raid day went? Remember, it wasn't a raid weekend that every gym would have Mewtwo and the increase in Shadow Mewtwo spawn. Thankfully, Niantic actually removed the non-Shadow raids on Saturday, but I'm not sure if that was a glitch or the Sunday one was a glitch, in a sense that there were also a mix of Regigigas and other raid bosses included into the mix. So I'm not sure if it was Saturday or Sunday that was the glitch that happened, or which one was wrong basically. Alright, so there's still a lot of things that I like to share about, especially me having fun with the community here in Cebu, going out there to raid Shadow Mewtwo's with them. And for me, I'm just happy that people are coming out there, being able to meet people in person, to have been able to see them raid in person, and me stepping out the car and like talk to them and whatsoever. Normally that's what I do when we drive to a raid and I see people that I wind down the window and say hi and talk to them how their raids went, this and that, if anybody had really good luck with shinies or hundos. That's what I normally do. That wouldn't have been possible if people were just remoting from home or wherever they were. Yeah, that's all I will say. Alright, so yeah, that's all that I've got to say. Hopefully things will be better, things are becoming better. That's all I will say. I'm really happy that people are coming out. Hopefully you guys are also to see that. And prepare for next month, man. There definitely will be another Shadow Week and Shadow Weekend. I'm predicting a Shadow Articuno, and then there will be a rotation of 4 new Shadow Raid bosses for Tier 1 and 4 new Shadow Raid bosses for Tier 3. And probably this will happen every month. Yep. So it's exciting, really fun, and I'm looking forward to more of this. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next episode in the next video. Alright, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.